Execution, staying on the field. I think we were in the first half. We were 5 and 9, third down. Had close over, I think, over 220 yards total offense in the first half, and then in the second half, it just I think we only ended up having 15 plays. So it was just staying on the field, and then not converting on third down. That was the biggest difference, putting ourselves in not great manageable third down situations, and it just didn't work out for us. We got to execute better coming out of halftime. That's been an emphasis all week.
Greg, with so much front diversity, scheme creativity, talent in the front seven, how much extra work have you put into studying and tweaking the way you handle and set protection?
In regards to Michigan,
Just in
in
regard
general,
overall,
well, I can speak, just on behalf of like each game plan is, set based off of what the defense is doing up front. I wouldn't necessarily say we tweak protections or anything like that. It might be we're gonna, lean on this particular call up front. Max calls all the protections, and with he gets the, him and the center work together. Him and Greg work together on that. But Max calls all of it from the line of scrimmage, and it's all based off of coverage structure, things along those lines. It might be based off of a particular front. That's the first thing he has to look at. But then after that, it's all based off of what the back end looks like. And we have our set rules based off of, whether it's a 4 down, 3 down, or 5 down front, and then it goes from there. And we might say, hey, one week we might say, all right, we need to look at this particular person as a guy we need to slide to. Other times it might be, okay, this is a particular coverage that we might see a particular blitz out of. It just all depends on, what we're facing week to week. But that's a good question, because I think, going into this week, it's a good third down package. I'll just put it that way. He does an excellent job of varying up things, giving different pictures week to week. So we have a challenge up front, and just in general on third down going into this one. But to answer your question, I don't think we really necessarily tweak it. We just work on different things each week that will put our guys in the best positions to protect the quarterback.
PJ talked about wanting to establish the run maybe a little bit more as a part of getting the run game going, but now you face arguably one of the top 5 run defenses in college football. So how do you balance wanting to work on the run game a little bit more and keep going, but also realizing it's one of the best defenses in college football?
Yeah, I think it's on me personally. I think I have to be able to have the commitment to establish the run at all times, and having that. One of the things I got, like, a number of people have given me advice, over the years of like, all right, how when you're in charge of calling an offense. And I think one of the things that I have to do a good job of this week in particular is just understand, okay, it's a 2 yard run, it's a 3 yard run, and then maybe it turns into a 4, 5, 6. They're excellent up front. Their 2 interior guys are elite. Their defensive ends are elite. Their linebackers are exceptional with fitting the run. And I think it's just going to have to be that. I have a ton of faith in our guys up front. We've challenged them this week with coming off the ball, executing their assignment, because at the end of the day, that's what it comes down to, is just the attitude up front. And I love the way that they've practiced the last 2 days, specifically yesterday on first and second down. They took that challenge that we gave them on Sunday. I hit it with them again on Tuesday, and they've accepted it. Now they just got to go out and do it. And I don't really, you look at the opponent. I'm not looking at it that way. I'm just looking at it as us, getting better every single day. And if we do that, we'll put ourselves in a position on Saturday to have success.
Yeah, their interior defensive line is obviously very good. They've got a good edge rusher that had a couple sacks.
Yep.
Just talk about how you attack a particular defense like that. What are you looking for?
Well, you have to know where those guys are. Third down, you have to know where 0 is. You have to know where 55 is. 78's always in there too. And then, like I said, with Daniel, he already, puts a great third down package together where, you watch all 4 of the games, and there's different things that he's looking to attack the offense with. I think that's what Coach Martindale does a great job of, and putting those guys in positions to make plays. Same thing that we're attempting to do on offense, but it's really about just knowing where those particular playmakers are on defense and putting the O-line in the position to be able to protect them. Because at times you're gonna, I've seen a number of things. I've seen everything from Texas use max protection. I've seen Fresno State drop back with five-man protection too. So teams have done different things to them, and we've been able to get a lot of great examples of how to be able to protect max. But we just got to go out. We got to put ourselves in the best position up front. Starts with max, calling that protection at the line of scrimmage, and then executing it once the ball snapped.
How does Darius look? Has he been able to be full grown, and does he have a little extra jolt kind of going back home?
He has the same jolt every single week. Going back home, I don't. Maybe internally he's thought about it, but with me, like my conversations with him, it's just the next game, and he's gonna have a great game. I'm looking forward to watching him play back in his home state, but he's looking forward to the challenge just like he is every single week.
Going up against Martindale, he's sent a lot of blitzes, a lot of different packages when he was in the NFL, maybe not as much in college games as he has. How do you prepare for those that he could probably implement? Maybe he's waiting for this season.
Yeah, it's about the same as it is in college and the NFL. You watch both. He's done, a lot of things in the first 4 weeks that you've seen on the Giants tape, and you've seen on other tape that he's been the coordinator. And I think, again, you have to be prepared for what he's put out there, but you also have to be ready to adjust based off of what he's doing, because in each game, the team previously, they got something that the next team wasn't, necessarily prepared for. So we're expecting, something new that we haven't seen, just like we are every single week. We have to be ready to adjust as coaches and players.
Greg Johnson took on a bigger role this year.
Yep.
How do you feel he's progressed as he's gone?
Every day he's continued to change his best. He's gotten better. Again, I talked about the offensive line already this week. Just establishing that mindset and resetting that basically. And I think that's been a big challenge. And Greg's, done a great job of leading that organization up front. And I think he's still young. I think he's a true sophomore. And so it's just he's got to continue to lead. He's got to continue to hone his craft, and then just study and work each day so he can put himself in the best position to have success.
Is this the best Michigan front you've seen since maybe obviously last year's front, but where do they rank among some of the ones you've seen?
They're good. I don't necessarily know if I want to say they're the best, because I've seen a lot of good ones in this league. Thinking back to last year's front that we went against with Michigan, they were exceptional. I remember what Coach Fleck said about that team after the game. You watch Ohio State's. I've seen other teams up front. They're very, very good. Mason Graham is and Kenneth Grant are they might be the two best interior guys that I've seen. And just the way that they play, that's what I look at. Like Mason Graham, the way he plays the game is the right way. He comes off the ball, uses his hands. He's always in his gap. But then when he can make the play, he's going to go make the play. That's what's the most, the thing I think that's the most interesting about him and the coolest thing about him is that, he's going to do his job, but then he's going to go make the play too. And you see that on tape. And Zero has, I think he was a transfer up. And he just the way he comes out the ball, and I think I can't remember his actual measurables, but I know he's not the biggest guy by measurable state, but he plays huge. The way he attacks the run, where he takes on pullers, it's fun to watch. Just how hard they play, and then you put their skill level in there too. It's exceptional, and I think that's a credit to their coaches. It's a credit to how they prepare those guys and put themselves in a position, because you have to remember too, the way that they're playing, they're in the fourth game of their system, going into the fifth game, and the way that they're playing, it looks like they've been in it for years. And again, that's a credit to their coaching staff and the positions that they're putting them in.
Talk about how you've seen Greg grow. How would you kind of self-assess in these first 4 weeks how you've done as a play caller?
I look at it every Sunday. My job is to put the guys in the best position to have success on Saturday. I think looking back at the North Carolina game, do I wish I would have maybe had a different call here and there? Same thing with Iowa. I think you're always going to have that, have that experience when you look back on it on Sunday. But I really don't look at it, globally until the end of the year, because I have to move on to the next opponent. But I look at it, how did Max play? If Max played, pretty well, then I think, okay, maybe I prepared him, pretty well for this game. If he didn't, what do I need to do differently leading up to this week? And then I look at it, with each position coach and how we can get those guys better.
Greg, you scored a pair of TDs in the tight red zone last week. What type of emphasis have you and the staff put on building on a package of designs that can get everyone involved and create space?
Every week we work on the tight green zone, and I think it's a balance of, every team wants to be able to run the ball down there, but then you also want to have the balance of, how aggressive can you be, and that's kind of been one of my mindsets after this past year is, and people have said that to me on staff. I got a lot of great people around me that can give their opinions and give their advice, that have called plays as well, and I think when they tell me like, hey, throw the ball in the end zone, I take that into consideration. And I want to be aggressive down there because I want to reward the offense, and I want the guys to have that reward of scoring a touchdown. And if we can put ourselves in position to throw the ball in the end zone, then we got a chance to score. The other thing is, I said, like, if you want to run the ball, like, you've got to put your guys in a position with whatever defensive front that you're going to see down there, because it changes. Once you get to a certain yard line, the defense changes. The field gets, wider than it is longer. So it's always different. The spacing's different. So it's different plays. It's different ways to attack them. But I think we've put a huge emphasis on that, and we spent a lot of time on that, over the course of yesterday and today, of how can we put those guys in the position to make the play, and how can we get the ball in the end zone.
Time for a couple more. When you put on the teaching tape for this week, how important is to show like the last 4.5 minutes of the first half to where you can see like where this offense can operate at a high level?
Yeah, they know. I think when they see themselves make the plays and they know, like, I remember going in the locker room at Iowa. I mean, or when we played Iowa, it was one of those looks in their eyes, like I felt like they had it, and then all of a sudden come out in the second half and it doesn't go the way that we want. The best thing about it is the way that they responded on Tuesday and really the next day, coming into the building and getting back to work. A lot of teams would sit there and sulk, be upset, be bothered by what was going on. Not this team, and really not the offense. I can speak for that. But I look at it as they see what they can do. They see the success that they have. They just got to do it over a 60-minute basis.
One more for Coach. Everyone's got it? All right. Thanks, Coach.
Cool. Thanks.
Run defense versus the second half run defense. What were the biggest things that changed?
I thought early on in the game, I thought we kind of dictated the tempo. I thought we played fast, and I thought we played fast, and I thought our guys, attacked all night early in the game. In the second half, I think we came out the first play, we had a bust. The second play, they hit a little bit of a run. We have a penalty. We got back on track after that, and then we gave a big third down. That can't happen. We didn't set the edge. We had a vertical seam, and their tailback took advantage of it. And then the second series, I thought, we came out. We had a good game plan there. Third down, we get a PI that makes a good back shoulder catch. Didn't think we brought the pressure fast enough. It was kind of what we felt about what happened up front. And then, and then after that, they kind of kept that drive alive and moved the ball down the field. And then, the long run, we have 3 or 4 guys at the point of attack, and we need to attack ball carriers. And, in the second half, I thought maybe I don't know if it was a little bit more hesitant, or we kind of let the running back dictate the speed or dictate the tempo, where in the first half I felt like we were playing faster as far as, trying to get a guy on the ground. I don't know if it was more confidence. I don't know exactly where it was or what happened. That's our biggest thing. We've been going through it Saturday after the game, Sunday with the team, and, our biggest thing there was make the available play. We had some opportunities. There were times we didn't make the play. There were other times, that's a good back. He made some good plays. He had some good runs, and I thought that was a veteran offensive line. And, we talked to our guys at halftime. Really, last week we talked to our guys. I think they were down 14-10 at Troy. The Illinois State game, I think it was a 3-0. I think it was a 6-0 game at half. It's really it's almost weird. It was the Iowa State game. They were up 13-0 early, and second half they didn't come out as much. This week they played like they had in the other games, where second half they came out, and we made a couple mistakes in the first drive and gave them some life. And I thought really it started the last drive of the first half. It was 21 seconds left. They run stretch, probably to run the clock out. It was a 23-yard run, a 24-yard run, gave them a little bit of life there. And, we need to put that away at halftime, go into the locker room, and then come out and execute right away in the second half. And we didn't do that, got them back in the game. And then, I felt as that game went on, once they got a lead, especially that call at midfield, we thought they may have tried to do something different. Guest got away from, probably what we were having success with at that point, down 2 scores, and probably shouldn't have called that one. I think that was early fourth quarter. But I thought there were 3 series there where really we have to execute better, we have to attack, and we have to dictate the tempo.
What was the number of missed tackles you guys had?
I believe it was 12 this week. I think it was, we talked about, I think he was 172 yards a game after contact going into the game is what we had talked about. And I think he had 170 yards after contact, or their offense. So it was exactly what they came into the game with. And, that's been, tackling circuit Sunday, tackling circuit Tuesday, Wednesday. And, this week, the message Sunday was make the available play. I felt like we had some guys at the point of attack. There were other times they had some good calls. They did some good things. But there were times I thought we have to dictate the tempo. We have to attack. And that's, go take your shot. Go attack the ball carrier. Everything with them was get the ball in the angle. When 2's coming downhill, 9's coming downhill, they're very good backs. There were times like this one time, Ja launches off the ball and falls down in the backfield. And just that little bit bubbles him off track. The swarm gets to the ball carrier. We get him off track, and now it's a tackle for 0, tackle for 1. And that was the biggest thing, is if we could knock the ball off the angle, if we could get vertical, and set edges and take them off the course they want to be on in the backfield, and we could, make the running back make a cut, we felt like we were in better shape. And there were, a couple carries we didn't do that.
You shared the number of missed tackles for the first 2 games. Do you recall what it was for Nevada?
For Nevada, I'd have to go back and look right now. I know the first game was the most. I thought we got better week 2 and week 3. I thought last week we played a back that was very similar to what we played week 1. And, I think, that's been the biggest message all week is take your shot. Take your shot. Like the number one thing in the Big Ten is we're going to play good football players. We're going to play a lot of guys that are going to play on Sunday. That's what the Big Ten is. It's, probably the best conference in college football. And we're going to play guys that at some point they're going to make you miss. At some point, someone's going to block you. Someone's going to make a catch. If we make the play more than them, we win the game. If you go attack and you get them off track, the swarm will get there. And that's been the message all week. If we play fast, which our guys, I thought we played fast. The one time, he's going into the end zone and Coleman comes through and he's punching the ball on the 1-yard line trying to get the ball out. We got to sweep the ankle going into the end zone. We got guys flying around playing really fast. And now it's just we have to do that at the point of attack. It's, don't let the running back dictate the tempo. We have to dictate the tempo.
How much of a challenge is a Michigan rushing scheme that creates extra gaps, mixes groupings, and incorporates misdirection?
Yeah, I think they've changed week 1 to week 2, and then definitely after week 2. It's, turning on the film from this past game, it was like watching a different football team. Now, their scheme hasn't changed a ton. You're still going to get tight zone. You're still going to get counter. You're still going to get power. But like I think there were 4 drop back passes in the last game. And I think one of them was a hard cadence. They got him to jump. They snapped the ball and they took a shot. And I think he scrambled on it. I don't even think they threw it, but there were 4 true drop back type passes in the entire 56 reps of the game, which was very different from the Texas game where the majority of the game was drop back pass. So for us, that's their mentality has shifted. They want to run the football. I don't even know if they want to throw the football. And we have to make sure we have to be sound at the point of attack. And it's, we have to stop the run. That's the number one goal. We got to get them off track. We got to stop the run. We have to make them, force them to throw the football. That's what, I don't know. Like last week, there were 3rd and 10s. They came out and they were end zone. So we'll see what their game plan is this week, how they attack us. Last week when they were off track at times, it was screens. We'll see exactly what they do in those situations. But we got to make sure we got to be firm at the point of attack. We have to win the line of scrimmage. We have to play like we did in the first half last week, and we have to play confident. We have to attack up front. We have to be detailed in how we execute, and if we can do that, I feel very good about getting them to third and off tracks.
Tell me about the challenge of playing a dual threat like Donovan Edwards.
Yeah, they have a lot of guys that are very good football players. He can catch the ball out of the backfield. They'll do different things with him in space. They'll flex him out and empty. They have the other tailback played linebacker last year. He's just turning it on. I was like, this guy's a linebacker. They have very talented players. They're going to get guys in space. They're going to try to get guys mismatches. They'll line up with the wide receivers in the backfield. Those tight ends, when you get the ball in their hands, I don't know who's going to be available this week. I'm anticipating they're going to have everyone back, but they do a very good job of getting their guys the ball in space, creating one-on-ones, creating matchups. And Donovan Edwards, he's a very talented player, and if he gets a one-on-one, he gets in space. He's a tough guy to bring down. So we need to make sure, we'll have a plan, to try to create those matchups that we want for the game.
You've been rotating Dev, Cody, and Mav quite a bit through the first 4 games. What's been the thought process of trying to rotate 3 guys into the 2 spots?
I think playing Big Ten football, especially now that we're in the Big Ten schedule, it's a physical game. There's a lot of plays. We want to keep our guys fresh. We want to keep our guys healthy. So last week, we had Eli out there for a couple snaps before he got hurt. The plan is we're going to continue to try to play more guys, continue to try to get guys on the field and keep them healthy for, I think last week was like 67 snaps, but keep them healthy for the Big Ten schedule and, keep them available all year long.
What's the challenge after having a rivalry loss and then immediately having to go into recruiting?
Yeah, I think, I think for our guys, it's making sure we respond. It's getting them back Sunday, responding, coming out fast Tuesday. Today, I thought we had a very good practice. I thought our guys were flying around. They were confident. And then, I think once it goes into the recruiting mold, I think it's where guys fit. We got to make sure we find the best fits. There's different guys that fit in our scheme. There are different guys that fit in our culture. And I think we'll still find the cultural fits. I think we'll find the guys that want to be here. And we're going to find the guys that want to win. And we can win within our culture, in our scheme, in our process, and with our family.
My question was more about like the guys you have on visit last weekend and kind of have to deal with the loss and then immediately have to recruit guys.
Yeah, I think they felt what it was in the first half. I think they see where we are. We didn't win the game. Everyone wanted to win the game. But I think those guys see where we are, and I think they see how close we are right there. And I think we have guys that are bought in and believe in what we're doing in recruiting, what we're doing in coaching, what the process is here, and the whole, row the boat culture. I think we have guys that are fully invested with that, and I think, we're going to keep them within, the family and what we're doing with recruiting.
I was the 4th straight Big Ten team to run for over 215 yards against this defense now. That goes back to last year. You weren't here for that, but there's a lot of returning guys from that 23 defense. So how do you avoid that here we go again, heading into a Michigan team that just wants to run the football?
Yeah, I think we got to respond right away. Let's learn from that game. Obviously, it was disappointing, after the game in the locker room, Sunday, Monday. But how do we respond? We got to bounce back. We got to learn why it happened, how it happened, what we have to do up front, what we have to do schematically, put guys in different positions. How are we going to finish? And how are we going to attack the backs and the line and what they're doing this week. And that'll be the biggest thing is make sure we learn from our failure this past week so that way we grow. And as long as we can do that, I feel confident we'll come back, we'll respond, and, we'll be better this week than we were last week. And that's the number one thing is we have to make sure we keep growing and improving every single week as the season goes on.
You mentioned the difference in schemes between the 2 quarterbacks. How do you plan for and kind of inform your players on the possibility they've already shown the willingness to kind of go to a different quarterback? Maybe if you guys stifle them in the first half.
Yeah, I think we're going to have to be ready. Anything can happen in a football game. So, we have all 4 games. Obviously, we have different things they've done in the past against this defense or against this structure, against, maybe our game last year or different games last year. So we're going to throw everything at our guys and make sure we're educating them on how things will fit up or how things, what we're going to play to it and how we're going to respond to certain things. But, yeah, we have to be ready for 2 quarterbacks. I know, obviously, 10's the guy we're anticipating. That's the guy they've come out and said that will play. Last week he was the guy, but in a situation like this, that's the guy we will be ready for. But if the other guy comes in, we'll have a plan and we'll be ready for that.
With the teaching points of the corners, and when Iowa's got a couple of crack blocks that come down in the safeties, and the corners aren't in the right spot.
Yeah, I think that's we had a couple of younger guys in there. It's the first time they've had that. Obviously, we've done it in practice. We've done it in Indy. We've drilled it. It's the first time it's a live thing in a sold-out stadium in an awesome environment. And our fans created an unbelievable environment for our guys. Now we got to make sure they understand why that happened. And we've shown it on video. We've drilled it in practice. We got to clean up the technique. And we changed the technique after that first series of the third quarter, try to clean it up a little bit. We had a mistake there. But that's something, we've had it implemented. We've done it. And now we just got to get it a little bit better. And that's where, you start playing some guys that maybe haven't been in that spot. There's a couple injuries there. It's going to be good to get some guys back here. And but those guys will grow. They'll learn, and we'll be better for it this week now that they've had those opportunities, and now they know exactly what it is, in a live sold-out stadium in a massive matchup.
College offenses are increasing motion to get leverage and info, and then on the flip side, it seems like defenses are getting even better at disguising and exploiting protections while still maintaining coverage integrity. What big picture trends have you noticed at the defensive line?
Yeah, I think it's kind of. I always feel like you see it in the NFL and the playoffs, and we don't get to watch a lot of NFL games until after the season. But you see it, and you're like, well, we're gonna have to see that next year. And sure enough, there it is, week 2 or week 3, you're gonna start seeing that stuff. And same thing though, we'll see something and we're like, wow, that's pretty cool. I wonder how how do we figure out how to do that, or how can we rep that, or how can we get a certain pitcher to go after someone, or get expose a protection or a route or a concept. And that's always what we're looking for. That's what we're in studying and trying to figure out. But the game's always going to change, and it's what you had 10 years ago, some of that doesn't exist at all, and then other things that you had maybe 15 years ago, it's coming back around now. So you got to always make sure we're ready for things to come back or show up again. And we got to figure out, we got to try to stay ahead, whether it's in different conferences or it's at a different level or it's from the NFL. But we always got to try to stay ahead to be, okay, this motion's now going to create this for us, or this shift, or this empty, or whatever it is that the other team's doing. We're always going to try to be one step ahead of that and have a plan for it. And then obviously there's something that you may not have seen, and we got to have rules for everything so our guys can go out and play fast. But we're always looking for it. We're always looking for the edge. I know offenses are always doing the same exact thing, so it's just trying to stay one step ahead all the time. All right, thank you, guys.